So good morning everybody, formally, week 9. Let's move on to slide number 2 very promptly. So as you know, next week is the poster presentation, and here are some directions, some guidance in a nice, easy to digest 1, 2, 3 ABC format. So presentations, as you know, will be next Friday, the 11th of December, and they will start at the normal time for class, so 10 o'clock, and they'll run through until about 1:30. We're going to run through to 1:30 because there's 12 people in the class, 15 minutes each. That actually works out at longer than the normal 3 hours. So the important point, which I haven't put on this slide, is that once you've done your presentation, that's it. You can finish and you can go. So it's not the whole class is going to be present. It's just going to be me and Chris essentially. So point number 2, the Zoom details will be posted on Thursday, possibly before, if I remember to do it, but I'll certainly remember to do it before Friday. So on the Friday, it's going to be exactly the same as this. So it's going to be Zoom, just like this, but it's just going to be me, you and Chris. You individually, me and Chris. So when it's just before your time, I'd advise you to arrive about 15 minutes before your allotted time. There's nothing worse than doing something like this and either the student or the lecturer is 5 minutes late, because even a minute late, because it kind of pushes everybody back and then everybody gets delayed. So please try not to inconvenience anybody, including yourselves. So please arrive 15 minutes early and just wait in the waiting room as always, and then we'll admit you when it's your time. While you're waiting, or even before that, whenever you like, email your poster to Gary and Chris. So you're going to have your poster on your laptop or wherever it might be, but you also need to send it to us by email, so that we've got a good copy that we can access as you're talking, because it might not be a good quality. We might not be able to see it very clearly on Zoom. One of the reasons is on my Zoom, like right now, I've got the PowerPoint open as a small window, and then I've got the class open as a big window. So it's useful to have it as a well-defined small window, if that makes sense. And when your time starts, share the screen. So at the bottom of the Zoom you can see there's a green icon at the bottom, next door to chat and record. It says share the screen, so you can share the screen that way. So you have so point number 6, you have 10 minutes maximum to talk us through it. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day in a tutorial, and she was asking about the format of it. So please remember, it's not a high stress thing, and really important thing to remember about the poster presentation. If you read the brief, which I encourage you, urge, in fact I insist that you read the brief, because all of the questions that you might have will be answered in the brief. And one of the most important questions is, what am I going to get marked, or what are you going to get marked on? You're not going to get marked on your answers. You're not going to get marked on how good your performance is. You're going to get marked on the content and the quality and the extent to which your actual poster, the image, the picture, the presentation, the words, and all that sort of stuff follows the brief. So point number 6, it says you have 10 minutes maximum to talk us through the poster. So what I will do is literally say, good morning Taylor, or whoever it is, okay, thanks for your poster, can you just talk us through it? So but don't read it, because we can do that. So what you need to do is give us a verbal overview of your whole poster. So you'll say something like, okay, my topic is this, and the reason I chose it because it really interests me, and what fascinates me is this, and what I'm going to try and do with my poster and my research project is find out this, and this ties in with previous work in this area written by people like this and this, and so on. So it's a general overview. Okay, so we're not going to ask you deep probing questions. We're certainly not going to ask you what you've discovered in your research, because you haven't done it yet. So what we're looking for is basically a narrative. We're looking for a commentary on what you've done so far, why you chose it, why it interests you, and so on. And we will ask you some questions on it as well. But remember, you're going to get judged, you're going to get assessed on your poster, not on your performance, right? So don't get freaked out by it, because it happens every year that students go, oh, I don't like doing it, you know, and don't worry. We're not going to, assess you and make notes on, how smart you looked or how erudite you were, or, how you dealt with questions and so on. It's going to be on your poster, 100% on your poster. So point number 7, we will ask questions. So I've said 10 minutes because in my experience when we do these things, there's always a delay, people coming in the room. I get a buzzing on the microphone, for example, good example this morning. So I've allocated everybody 15 minutes. Hopefully we'll get it done within 10. We might even do it in less. If it's less than 10 minutes, don't worry. That's actually possibly a good sign because it means all our questions have been answered. So let's keep it all very, very efficient because it's difficult to do over online. It's much easier when we do it in real life because what we do is everybody puts their poster up around the classroom wall, and me and Chris will actually wander around and spend a few minutes at everybody's poster. So we as always with COVID, we have to cope and keep it as close to normal as possible. Okay, so point number 8. Look, let me skip on to point number 10. Point number 10, you've actually got an early Christmas present, folks. And your early Christmas present, I don't know whether you've noticed this, is you've got an extra 2 hours to submit your poster. So normally, submission times are 2 o'clock on Turnitin. Submission time for this assessment is 4 o'clock, 1600 hours. That's point number 10. So I'm giving you a couple more hours just to make sure it's fair. So the idea is that when you do your poster presentation between 10 and 1, when you do it, if you suddenly realise there's a couple of mistakes on it or something like that, in between your presentation and 4 o'clock, that gives you a few hours just to make a few minor adjustments to it. So there won't be anything major, hopefully, because you would have all been devoted to it for in recent times. But there might be a spelling mistake, there might be something that's not clear, so that gives you a couple of hours to sort it out. So going back to point number 8, what you need to do is upload your poster. So I said in the original briefing, you can either do it as a PowerPoint or a JPEG image. Somebody else this week did it as a Word document, which is fine. You can do it as a Word document if you like. And somebody else, thank you, the student knows who she is, but thank you for asking the question. Bibliography. Yes, we do need a bibliography. My mistake for not mentioning this the first time around. So if you remember, if you read the brief, it says that we need references to academic work in your poster. Okay, so that means brackets, Merrill 2019, brackets. Hang on a second, it would happen, there's somebody at the door. Okay, so let's just go back to where were we? Yeah, so point number 8, so upload a poster. Upload your poster as one file. So if you're using PowerPoint, you'll have one slide for the poster itself, and slide number 2 will be the bibliography. Yeah? So if you're using Word, page number 1 is the poster itself, page number 2 is the bibliography. Okay, and if you're using images, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, but you might have to submit 2 images. So we do need a bibliography, and we obviously need the poster as well. So hopefully that makes sense. In terms of the criteria, point number 9, yes, criteria is there. It's all important. That's the definitive word. So if you get confused about what you need to do, it's all in the criteria. And as I said before, folks, I spend a lot of time on guidance documents because I know from years of experience that students will have questions, so I try and anticipate them. So everything is in the briefing documents. So there's an assessment 1 and 3 briefing document, it's all in there. And remember to look at the examples of your predecessors that I've given you before. Okay, so that's what we need to do for the posters next week. Let's move on. Any questions on that? No? Good. It should be quite low stress, and the thing is, don't even think the word stress. It's actually quite enjoyable, and it was great last year to see all these different ideas that the students had come up with, and how well the students had actually coped by themselves and done their own analysis and thinking. Now, so I'll come on to tutorials in a moment, but some of you might not even want tutorials, which is fine. I won't take it personally, I promise you. Because as I keep saying, you're all MA students and you're all adults, and so on. Cider, good question. How can you see each other's work? Unfortunately, Cider, you can't. I know that last year, in fact, Cider, you saw, you were there last year, I think. So last year we had a room in the university, and everybody kind of wandered around and looked at each other's work. It's not really possible this year, and there's also that question about submitted work. Submitted work should be confidential, really. So it's a difficult one. So sorry, Side, I think we're going to have to not do that this year, which is a bit frustrating, but it's just not very practical. Okay, so slide number 3. So I've done this completely randomly, folks. So there's no, you know, I've not distorted the running order here at all. So here's the schedule for next Friday. So you can read it as well as I can. Taylor, you're first, kicking off the show. Sider, you're second. Sana, you're third. Sandra, you're fourth at 10:45, and then we'll have a break at 11 o'clock. And then on the right, Jessica, Jasneet, Banda, Manisha, another break at 12:15. It is actually quite hard work assessing work like this. And then 12:30, Sophia, Catherine, Kate, and last but certainly not least, Henry, 1:15 on Friday. So there you go. So make a note of your time. As I said, please be on time. If you're late, it messes up the whole schedule for the rest of the day. So please, including our breaks, and we need our breaks. So please don't be late. So I would say that if you're let's take Sana as an example. So Sana is due at 10:30. So Sana should be in the waiting room at 10:15. Okay, so make sure that you're in there 15 minutes before, and make sure that you email. Sana, thank you, Sana. But I was just picking you out because it was I wasn't picking you out for any reason other than it was the first word I saw. So not only should Sana be 15 minutes early, but everybody, Jasneet, Banda, Manisha, Jessica, Sandra, everybody should be 15 minutes early. And also, the other comment I put there is please be patient. So if there is a delay for whatever reason, a technical problem, my neighbour knocking at the door again, whatever it might throw things out of kilter. So just be patient, and please resist the urge to send me emails saying where are you, Gary, and all that, because I'm probably sorting it out. And as you know, if you're trying to sort something out and people are asking you have you done it yet, it's really annoying. So just be patient. Okay, 2 more notes on this slide. I put mitigating circumstances question mark and SOA question mark. Now, the way that you're all familiar with mitigating circumstances, so if, God forbid, somebody's ill or you have a family issue or whatever it might be, you can apply for what's called mitigating circumstances, and you get an extension on your assignment. Now, I don't know whether you know this, but we tutors, we don't get involved in that at all. That is a purely admin function. So you go to the student portal, you click on mitigating circumstances, you fill the form in, and we don't, and this is where the university kind of falls flat on its face, we don't actually know anything about it. It's bizarre that we don't know, because we're the ones, and we're sitting there thinking, where's your work, you know, because you've got a 2-week extension and we don't know. So if anybody's got mitigating circumstances, can you please contact me in between now and Friday just to let me know. It's completely confidential. Don't do it now because your classmates don't need to know. But if anybody's got mitigating circumstances, and you will know if you've got it, you will know if you've got it because you would have physically applied for it. And the other thing is SOA, which I think stands for Summary of Adjustments. Now, in the old days, when we had exams, you know, sit in a big hall, pen and paper, when we had exams, if somebody, for example, was dyslexic, that person would get a little bit of extra time in the exam so that he or she could answer the questions more fully. So an SOA, Summary of Adjustment, so if you have a condition or something that affects your performance in that respect, again, you will know if you've got it, if it's something you've applied for. So if anybody has an SOA, Summary of Adjustments, can you please let me know, again by email. So mitigating circumstances, if you have them, let me know. SOA, if you have them, let me know. Okay, so that's next Friday. Does anybody have any questions about the posters? Now,
yes, please.
Go on.
Sorry. Yes, please. Just one clarification, sir. My time is 10:45. I mean, I need to be in the waiting room for 10:30. So I'm actually not turning up for 10 with everyone else. So we're not all hearing each other presentation.
No, we're not. No, just to clarify, no, we're not. If we did it in real life, Sandra, then we'd all be in the same room. But it's not really. No, we're not going to. It's just going to be you and me and Chris from 10:45 until 11. Sandra, it's just the three of us.
Okay, so I'll turn up at 10:30. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
10:30. Yeah, just 15 minutes before. Any more
Thank
questions?
you.
No worries. It's all pretty painless. Like I said last week, folks, think about it as one of those positive trips to the dentist. When you go along and the dentist checks out your teeth and says, wonderful, thanks a lot, have a good weekend. You know, so don't be freaked out by it. Don't be freaked out by it. Let's move on to slide number 4. Now, I was reminded of this by my boss, the head of school, yesterday, and somebody asked me if I will be available over the Christmas period. So this is coming from the top of the university. So this is the Vice-Chancellor who's told us this, and he's told all the students that the university is completely closed for 2 weeks over Christmas. So the bottom line is that from the last day of term is the 18th, okay, which is also the deadline for assessment 2 for your blog entries, which hopefully you've all got under control. And again, refer to the criteria because it's online. So between the 14th and the 18th, the note on the left hand side, if you want a tutorial for assessment 2 or 3, it's strongly recommended you arrange it for that week, for the 14th. So don't do it now, but if you want a tutorial for either assessment 2 or assessment 3, make sure, email me on Monday morning next week, and then we'll have the tutorial the week after. So I'm available for tutorials between the 14th and the 18th. Don't leave it until the 18th, because I know somebody somewhere will. Okay, the deadline will be 2 o'clock and somebody will say, can I have a tutorial at 12? Don't do that. Give yourself a few days before that. I would actually say that Monday the 14th is the, if you want a tutorial for assessment 2, Monday the 14th is the last day, really. Because you'll need a couple of days to get it all together to write it. It's deceptively difficult, assessment 2. 4 entries of 250 words is actually quite tricky to do. So if you need a tutorial for either of those assessments, I would suggest do it that week. Okay, and then we come back, the university reopens on the 4th of January, Monday the 4th, and then assessment 3 is the 8th. Okay. Please, folks, do not leave assessment 3 until Monday the 4th of January, because it will be a disaster, I promise you. The idea is that you've got your poster, which is the starting point for assessment 3. So once you've done your poster, you're off to a flying start, and then you've got a whole month with Christmas in the middle to actually do a good quality assessment 3. But don't leave assessment 3, don't do that undergraduate approach like I used to do when I was an undergrad, and you do it 2 or 3 days before the deadline. Okay, so just be aware, folks, that this comes from the top. This is the Vice-Chancellor. University is closed for 2 weeks. Okay, and that means everybody, all staff are on leave, with the exception of security staff and emergency staff and so on. So admin staff are not available. My boss is not available. I'm not available. Anita's not available. So just factor that into your thinking, and hopefully you're all going to have a break of some sort yourselves, you know. So please just don't expect us to be there 24/7 on demand like some kind of, I don't know, like some sort of Deliveroo service, you know. It's not going to, even I think even Deliveroo's closed on Christmas Day, you know, so it's it's not just us. So the note in the white box, GJM, that's me, I will only be available from December the 21st to January the 3rd. So I'm not saying completely no, but it's by appointment only, in advance, and exceptional circumstances. Okay, I've put exceptional in red, so seriously exceptional. So if you've got mitigating circumstances, or whatever it might be, I might be able to squeeze in half an hour on the 22nd of December. But I'm definitely not working 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th or 29th. I might be around on the 30th, I might be around on the 31st, and then I'm not available for the next 3 days. But this is exceptional circumstances only. But just be aware that if you need any help over that pink period, orange period in the middle, I'm very limited availability from me, and I need to know in advance and exceptional circumstances only. So in other words, if you want a tutorial, book it next week for the week after. So I would say Monday the 14th, that's basically my tutorial day for assessments 2 or 3. Okay, any questions on that? I'm sure you know that already, because I'm sure the university have told students what the deal is over Christmas. Okay, let's move on.